Hello folks, and yeah, it's not been a long video, but it is March 2nd, so happy Texas Independence Day. Uh, and of course, today Governor Abbott, and I've been asking for a long time to go ahead and lift the mask mandate. So the mask lift is in effect today, March 2nd. And if you're over in Tarrant County, Mayor Betsy Price, she came out and said that the mask lift is effective today, March 2nd. And if you're in Tarrant County, I haven't gotten over to Dallas, all of the stores got the mandatory mask signs off of their doors. So, a lot of people are still wearing masks, and that's okay. At this point, it is your choice. You know, if you're feeling a little sick, got a little cough going, and of course, if you just want to wear a mask, you can. Of course, talking to employees at stores, they're like, yeah, everyone's, don't have to wear masks now, but we still got to wear masks. So I'm asking the companies, especially companies that has a front-serving customer service, like gas stations. I'm talking to you, Walmart, grocery stores. Go ahead and have it a choice. So if if your employee wants to wear a mask, let them do so. But if they don't want to wear a mask, also have that be a choice. So, and of course they're saying, hey, Governor Abbott. Of course, the Democrats here in Texas are against it, but they're way outnumbered, than from Republicans. They're saying, okay, because of this, the coronavirus numbers are going to surge. The thing is, it's not going to surge because the WHO and the CDC has made the PCR count from 40 down to 20, and I know some people who went and took the test, and it's correct now because they took it a few times, and it's coming up negative each time. So unlike before, they were taking it, come up negative, come up positive, negative, positive, positive. It's like, okay, what's going on? But now it's like more of a correct, where if you take it 2 or 3 times, it's going to show positive, 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 or it's going to be negative, negative, negative. So with the correct I think it's a PRC, is it PCR? Anyways, with the correct virus count, it's kind of like what I mentioned before in the other video. It's kind of like taking a small picture or a picture, and you're expanding it, trying to find that one little grain of sand in the picture. You keep expanding it to the point it's like super pixelated, and you're like, yeah, hey, that looks like a piece of sand. It looks like a piece of grain, or a piece of grain. Yeah, that's positive. So yeah, so the problem with the test prior to January, when the WHO and the CDC decided to change from 40 to 20, where it is now the correct PCR count, and we're getting the correct results. You got like tons and tons, because people are saying that about 60 to 70% of the tests were false positives. So the 480,000 deaths, it's more like 80,000 deaths. If you're taking 60 to 70% of the false positives, and of course, I guess I'll mention this. Of course, Cuomo and Newsom. Half of the elderly deaths is accounted from California and New York, and hopefully something does happen to Cuomo. People saying, "Hey, look, Cuomo, if you don't want something to happen to you legally, like him facing jail time, go ahead and step down. If you step down, you'll be left alone. The sexual harassment, I think those are coming out to kind of distract from the elderly death. That video that came out of Michigan of that young black man beating up those 2 elderly white people in the nursing home. When I first saw it, I thought it was a nursing home a technician or a nurse that was beating up these old people. I was like, what the heck? Because I was watching with a buddy It's like, why is this nursing home worker beating up these old people? And of course, it came out he's not a nursing home worker. Some 19-year-old kid that tested positive for COVID, and they stuck him in the nursing home with the guise of, there's no rooms in the hospitals. And I have relatives who works in hospital, and the way they explain to me is that the hospital administrator, say you work in a big hospital that's got like 20 ICUs. So what the hospital administrator would do is they would designate, say, let's say four ICU rooms as COVID rooms, and now all four rooms are filled up. So what the hospital administrator would do is they'll mark that, hey, all of our COVID rooms are maxed out. We got no more room. To where you actually got 16 more ICUs because you can put COVID infected patients in, but they just designate 4. And now they're telling the government, hey, we need. Of course, they do this to get funding. So now the hospital administrator will report to the government, hey, we are maxed out. We need more money. We need more funding for more rooms. And of course, in the case of New York, the Army Corps of Engineers built that 10,000 room tent hospital. The 2,000 room Navy hospital ship came in, which they said was like only 2 rooms got used out of the 2,000 before the ship went back to its harbor or its port of call. Yep. So in this happy Texas independence, of course, Texas won our independence from Mexico at it was the Battle of San Jacinto, with the battle cry of "Remember the Alamo." And of course, then President Santa Anna, or General Santa Anna, when he was defeated at San Jacinto by the Texas militia. Or of course, it was basically a militia. It wasn't really an army. It's kind of like the First Continental Army. Those guys were basically a militia that fought against England. So they weren't exactly a standing army. Same thing with Texas, led by Sam Houston and Stephen F. Austin. They were ranked of generals and stuff. But again, it was just the Texas army was basically a militia that fought against a actual army that was the Mexican army. Just a quick Texas history, and yes, and I didn't even know it, but Texas actually have our own Pledge of Allegiance. And if I remember, I believe, and it's been a long time since I've been in elementary, but yes, I remember when we were in elementary, we did both the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag and to the Texas flag. That's, of course, I don't think they're teaching that in schools anymore, at least here in Texas anyways. But you can look it up. It's almost the same as the U.S., except for, say U.S., you say Texas. Well, that's it. So yeah, and I don't see the infection going up again because the PCR test is now down to 20, which is the correct count that it should be at. And hopefully, I think Missouri is going to follow. I believe Florida already has a no mask mandate. So DeSantis is he's on the ball, and I guess for Abbott, he maybe he just waited. Hey, let's wait for the Texas independence, and then do this mass lift just to kind of give it more of a oomph. Hey, it's Texas independence, and we're going to do the mass lift the same day. And yes, a lot of the stores, the signs are off of the door that says mask required. So, but a lot of people are still wearing masks, and that's fine. So tomorrow when I go back to the store, we'll see. You're going to see, and of course, I've already started seeing a whole lot of people not wearing masks in the store, including myself. So you're going to see more and more people because people, especially conservatives, especially Republicans, we are law abiding. So if the government says you must wear a mask, you know, you know, even though it is against our Constitution, uh, um, most folks are going to obey the authority because we are law-abiding and we do obey the authority to a point. And now that the mask mandate has been lifted here in Texas, I would say by the weekend, today's Tuesday, March 2nd, so by the weekend, you're probably going to see pretty much 90% of 90% of the people out in public with no mask on. And of course, if you're an elder, if you're 70, 80 year old, you got diabetes, you got heart problem, you got OCP, what's that, OCPD, that breathing problem. Well, actually, if you have that breathing problem that old people have, you definitely shouldn't be wearing masks. If you have compromised immune system, that yes, if it makes you feel more comfortable to wear a mask, definitely wear a mask. If you're a grandpa, grandma, nana, or pappy, so oh, my screensaver just kicked in. All right, well that's it. Thank you for watching, and hopefully your state, if you're in California, unfortunately, that ain't happening. But hopefully, if you are in a red state with a Republican governor, I have a feeling Alabama, South Carolina, well, South Dakota, they're they're way ahead of everybody already. I like their governor. She's definitely a based governor. Abbott, he's kind of I would call him semi-based. He's to me he seems like a swamp creature, but a based swamp creature. Yeah, a career politician. I don't think Abbott went to Harvard or Yale, so that's kind of extra thumbs up. I didn't look into his background to see if he comes from a family of politicians or if his family's made millions in politics. But not graduating from those Ivy League libtard schools like Harvard and Yale, it's definitely a thumbs up for me. All right, well, thank you for again the last. All right, well, thank you, and have a good one.